Hi, I'm Joe Thompson.
And I'm Jay Riddle. We've been good mates for a pretty long time now, since forever really. Yeah, we've always sort of been in each other's lives, I guess. Like our testimonies and walks with God have always sort of included each other in.
Whenever we've been through tough times, he's always been there for me, and I for him.
Hopefully,
right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, and yeah, this is our story, I guess. So yeah, I was always raised in a Christian home. I had great parents who love God. They're really on fire for God. That's kind of the environment I grew up in. I think when I was around 13 is when I first entered into a relationship with God. That's when I first found God. It was around the time when I sort of had these friends who were my best friends, yet they also slightly bullied me as well. So I was quite lonely, and I think that's when I first really found God. That's when I first entered into a relationship with God. As I got a bit older, I sort of entered into the party scene. Went in pretty heavy. There were a lot of distractions. I still had my love for Jesus. I still love Jesus. Still followed him, but it was more of a good idea, more of like a good concept in my head, as opposed to me actually living it out and it being like a real thing, a part of my life. So I finished sixth form. I went traveling. I had a really good job, earned a load of money. I went to Australia, New Zealand, Hawaii, and LA. And on that time, I was reading this book by this guy called Brother Andrew. Basically, he smuggled 1 million Bibles into communist China. And I was just really blown away by his absolute dependence on God. It's something I really admired, and I sort of said to God, Lord, like that's how I want to live my life. I want to be like that. Like, what can I do? And he sort of said to me, like, what are you gonna do with this money you've got left over from this trip? And I said, okay, yeah. Like, what do you want me to do with it? And he said, go to Africa, go to Heidi Baker's School of Missions. So I said, okay, God, I'll go. I'll apply when I get back. So I got back from the trip. I didn't really want to apply, but I thought, okay, God's told me to do it. I'll go ahead. Went on and applied half-heartedly, sort of hoping to get rejected, but about a week later I got accepted. So I was like, okay, God, yeah, I'll go. Still needed a ton of money for tuition and other travel expenses, but I was like, okay, Lord, I'm just going to be dependent on you. About 10 days before I flew out, all the money came in one day for the tuition and stuff, so I was really blown away by the way that God showed up in my life in that way. Yeah, went to Mozambique and then learned a lot, had a really life-changing experience, and came back in what I'd say is like a real Christian. Like, I still had my faith before I went away. I still was a Christian and still loved Jesus, but it was more something that I debated at parties and like try and have that sort of, it'd just be heated debates. But yeah, I really feel like when I've come back now, that I'm more going to live it out, and it's going to be real to me, live out my faith. So yeah, I'm really excited to be back. Really excited to see this guy here. I'm not here for long though, because I'm off to Bethel's Supernatural School of Ministry. Sounds like a mouthful, but basically it's just going to be a year of foundation for my faith. It's going to be like me really learning my identity in Christ, learning of sonship and stuff like that. So I'm really excited for that. But yeah, over to you. What are you saying?
Cheers, man. Yeah, no worries. Cool. So yeah, like Joe, I grew up in a Christian family. My parents both work for a Christian organisation called Agape that sort of go out do evangelism and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a good upbringing, good sort of background to have. Then yeah, when I was 11, I moved to Bristol. The first sort of Sunday we had at Woody's was after church. Pretty much just spent with Joe and just you know, had a sweet time, hit it off really. We were both like 10, 11, and just had a sweet time. So yeah, it was more sort of my parents' faith then and less my own, but I certainly believed it for sure. Yeah. So yeah, when I was 15, my brother was killed in a hit and run car accident, and yeah, that sort of broke the whole family down really. None of us really expected anything like that to happen, and it hit home for me a lot. I mean, me and Sam were pretty close in age. He was only 11, and yeah, it pretty much broke me down to sort of the lowest point I really had ever sort of felt, and it sort of just really changed my outlook on faith and outlook on sort of God, because I wasn't really sure how a completely loving, you know, powerful God would let this sort of stuff happen. And just really, I certainly sort of felt like, you know, sort of God had done a complete sort of unjust act to our family, and just had I had no idea how this God, who I've always sort of grown up loving and having a good relationship with, and believing that he's completely sort of holy and loving and powerful, would sort of almost dare to do something like that to us. Because it was devastating, really, as far as I was concerned. If God has done that to me, then why should I sort of try and pursue it even further? And yeah, I just sort of started trying to rebuild my life in a way that I kind of wanted to do it, really, instead of living it for God. Like, I mean, probably made some decisions that I probably regret and didn't really want to live that way, but yeah, at the end of the day, I was in a pretty bad place. Then the following summer, we had the opportunity to go to Soul Survivor, which is just a huge sort of youth conference. To be honest, like, I didn't really want to go. To be honest, I wasn't really feeling it. Didn't feel like I was in the right sort of godly place to hang out with loads of people who were, you know, seemingly sort of on fire for God and really up for it. And yeah, neither of us sort of fancied it, to be honest. But I just felt that I had all this baggage and I had all this sort of this upset in my mind that I didn't want to have to bring out. And I kind of almost knew in my mind that if I go, I'm going to have to confront it and have to sort of deal with it, and I just wasn't really ready for that. But I guess ultimately we went and, you know, had a really good time, and I realised that if it's anywhere God's going to sort of break me back down to my inner being and just say, this is okay, it was there. And ultimately that's where he sort of made the start on sort of picking me back up and really dealt with how I felt, really. Yeah, you know, still millions of questions, don't even know what to think about the whole sort of scenario, really, but I've got great family, great life. I sort of said to myself, and I prayed with a few of the guys and just sort of said, you know, from now on I need to sort of try and rebuild again and just try and do it right this time and actually, you know, put God first. And yeah, since then, really, you know, life's had its ups and downs and stuff, but I mean, it's still a good few years ago, and you know, things have certainly changed. I got pretty well in with sort of worship and stuff, and devotion, the youth group, and even on the Sunday mornings and stuff, and that was a wicked opportunity for me to sort of do what I like, play music and glorify God and worship at the same time, and I definitely felt really happy.
I think the main reason I want to get baptized is just a declaration, like a statement to the world saying, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life, you know, this is my main priority. It's above things like university, it's above things like my job, and so yeah, just want people to know that this is my main goal in life, is to follow the Lord, bring the kingdom of heaven to earth. Yeah.
Bang on. So now I guess leading on from that, I mean, it was really since then I would call myself a Christian, like my own Christian, really, and have my own faith and really stand for what I believed. And I guess it's been that way ever since, really. I'm off to uni in September, and I want to be different, really. I want to go there with God next to me and sort of power through it with Him. Because I know that if I was living life like I sort of had done before, I would have sort of coasted my way through it and not really lived it to its potential. Whereas if I know, you know, I've got God next to me, and I really know that by getting baptized now, I just really feel that I'll be able to progress so much better and really maybe even impact, you know, lives of other people, and just be able to live life to the max through Him. Check it out now.